What's up, everybody? It is Thursday. We are back at our normally scheduled time for Wedding Film School Live. And today, we're back to normal. It's myself and Jay. Jay, how you doing?
How are you guys doing? Hopefully you guys had fun with Ray last week.
Yeah, that was, I feel like we're a week and 1 day removed from it. I know we pushed it to Wednesday last week, so sorry if you were here Thursday at noon. You're like, where is the link? What is going on? But yeah, we had a great show with Ray. Jay, I really enjoyed that one, and I think a lot of other people did as well.
Yeah, they didn't enjoy my interrupting Ray, but
I did see that. That's true.
They didn't like that.
You can't interrupt Ray, man.
Have you ever
he's
talked
the goat,
to Ray?
Right?
Ray will never stop talking if you.
You
Anyway,
gotta keep the show on the road.
Yeah, you gotta keep the show on the road. It's my show. Anyway, but yeah, it was awesome.
I feel like we hit a bunch of weddings. I feel like he had really good insight. And I think it was just the right balance of look, you want to get better. Here's the hard truth. But also, here's some things that you're doing well. Here's some things I appreciate about your film. And we had a lot of good films too.
Yeah. It was fun. I like the format. We might kind of adopt some of that format a little bit. Remember when we used to do Wedding Film Wednesday, by the way? Should we do that again this year?
Oh, I do remember that.
I'm always interested.
Backlog that we never posted.
How many of you guys are in chat? If you're in chat, just kind of, how many of you ever watched the Wedding Film Wednesday films that we would drop? Is that helpful? I'd love to know.
Yeah.
In the comment, is that helpful content for you guys or not?
And so Wedding Film Wednesday. And so if you haven't seen, so let us know if you watched it, if you remember it. And if you do not remember it, here's what it was. Basically, every Wednesday, we'd cycle through myself, Jay, and Jared posting a wedding film. So once a week, we'd get a wedding film that we created, that year or whatever. Jay, would we
sometimes
talk about it? Or,
we would give a 30-minute, we try to mess around with stuff, like a 30-second thing, or a minute-long thing. What's funny, I remember posting one, and it was a film that I solo shot in Newport. And I remember choosing the film, and I was like, hey, I'm going to pick this film because, but I'm going to pick it because to me, this is like a normal wedding.
Yeah.
And it's really basic. And to me, this is a representation of what you could shoot almost every weekend with any couple that you have. Mm-hmm. Right. And I remember posting it, and people are like, this is boring. It's like every other film. And I was like,
that's the point.
That's the point. That's the education. But
I always thought, I always just liked it as a concept. I'd love to see it come back. I think it's weird, well, this is a whole nother topic, but it's weird what is, deemed successful by YouTube on our channel. Those videos would always do pretty well. And then we'd release these knowledge bomb videos that are in-depth technical reviews, and we get no interaction.
I don't understand YouTube, guys, but I do know wedding filmmaking, and so we're going to talk about that today. And if you guys are wedding filmmakers out there who watch our show or watch our channel, we're super appreciative because we know we
love you.
It's a small club being a wedding filmmaker and getting to talk and influence and have conversations with this community is pretty special. It's so funny to me, the roasting people give me in a Facebook group when I drop something and people are like, you should lead with empathy. And I was like, so all the free podcasts I released and all the free YouTube channel stuff.
No, that's my job. Jay leads with a harsh fist, and I say, it's going to be okay.
Yeah. But it's funny is we are really grateful to have this opportunity and to work with you guys. And so why don't you kind of walk people through, how do we like to do film critiques, at least normally? We might change it up a little, but what's kind of our goals?
We're on the talks of possibly changing this, but for now, the way that we have always done it, and we'll probably continue to do it for a little bit here, is we're going to watch films that are submitted by you guys, by our community. If you want to submit your films, I just posted the link. You can head over to the link. I pinned it in the top of chat or comments or whatever that's called when we're live. But it's just weddingfilm.school/live review. And you can submit your work for us to review. Now, here's the way that it works. We, right now, although we tried something new last week and we kind of liked it, but right now what we do is we will watch up to 5 minutes of a film. So if you want to send us a teaser that's 60 seconds, awesome. If you want to send us a 3-minute film, great. 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 20 minutes, that's fine. But we are only going to watch up to 5 minutes roughly of it. And then we are going to go between myself, Jay, Jared, if he's here, Ray, if he's here, whoever. And we're going to share things that we first like, things that we think you as a filmmaker did really well, things that we want to commend you, pat you on the back and say, hey, lean into this. This is a strong point. This is something that you clearly understand. This is something you did great. And then similarly, we're going to go on the flip side and we're going to say, but here's some things that we think you could improve on. some things that we think were lacking in this film, some areas where in your next wedding film, this should be your priority for growth, because we think that it's going to have the most impact on your films. And again, guys, we are not the end all, be all knowledgeable power in the wedding film industry. But, you know, right now, between myself and Jay, we probably break the 30-year mark of experience. When we've got Jared here, we're pushing 45, 50. And when we've got Ray on here, I don't even know, man.
We're like at 500 years.
It's a lot. And not that time in the industry is the only indicator, but we've seen a lot. We've seen what works, what doesn't work. So, but ultimately, we're here to grow as a community. So we want to hear from you guys as well in the comments. You know, if you thought things, hey, I love this shot, or, you know, hey, something's looking weird with the frame right here. What's going on? So yeah, sound off in comments, and we're going to hop into our first film here. But before we do, we would appreciate, we got a bunch of you in chat, we'd appreciate if you left us a like. That helps YouTube say, hey, this is pretty cool. You guys should watch it.
Yes.
And second, if you want priority in getting your films reviewed, consider becoming a member. It costs us $5, and we appreciate it. It helps us continue to make free content for you guys, our viewers. So that stuff like this, it's our podcast, it is our educational videos, behind the scenes videos, etc., etc. You can hit the little join button, should be right here, I think. I can't see myself on screen. It might be over here, but it's just next to subscribe. And many thanks to those who are members. I see a bunch of you in chat, and some new ones. Modern Love Productions, thanks for becoming a member. We appreciate you. MZP Creations, I don't know if you're a new member or not. I don't recognize the name, so I'm going to say
I think he's
becoming a
so
member.
here's what I'll say, Ira. The reason we don't review your films is because you submit them a little too late a lot of times. Like you submitted at 11:40 and noon. And we pretty much are having our stuff organized by then. What I'm gonna do today for you is we are gonna review the film, but I just encourage everybody to, if you
get out ahead of it. If you can.
If you are doing it, and you want us to review it, I'd like having it before 11 a.m. on Thursday is really helpful.
Because the thing is, you guys might not think so, but we actually do plan this show. It might not always show, but we do plan this show. And
honestly,
so,
I spend about 40 minutes in post-production prepping the clips.
We
and
prep
organizing.
everything into the ATEM and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. But
So
we can do
we'll
it, but it's not personal. It's just that's what it is. So
for sure.
Okay.
Cool. Well, ready to hop into our first film?
Let's do it.
All right. Our first film is coming from Julian Milan, who I believe is in chat.
No, I think our first film is not Julian Milan. Sorry, I didn't reorganize them. We are doing Julian.
I'm a liar. Would you like to tell me the name, and then I can?
It's Modern Love, folks.
Oh, all right. So we're going reverse order.
I believe.
Okay, so Modern Love Productions, who I think is a new member. I could be wrong. And that is their company name. And they say this was the first same-sex Jewish wedding at the Plaza in NYC. Oh, like ever. That's kind of cool. This is the teaser. Our team all got the flu on the wedding day. Oh, man. I don't think I've ever had that happen wedding day. I've shot with somebody who had to remove themselves during the day for that. But I have gotten like food poisoning the night after, and that was sucks. Planner asked for a drone inside the plaza the day before the wedding. That scares me. Which is our first time doing drone inside. Weather was a challenge, raining all day. Last time we reviewed our film in NYC, you said you wondered how Fiore would have handled that wedding. Would love to have her feedback as well as wedding film school team. Unfortunately, she is not here.
Sharon is coming on the show in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, we talked about, well, on that note, our most recent, we're going to get to films, I promise, but our most recent podcast episode is with Fiore Films, so you should check that out. And that's over on our sister channel, the Wedding Film School Show.
An actual genius.
We are like, man, I don't want to like pat ourselves on the back too much, but these episodes so far,
pure fire.
They're good.
Pure fire.
They're really good.
What can I say?
So yeah, check those out.
I'm just every day I'm hustling and bringing it, and that's what I gotta say.
Rick Ross, every day I'm hustling.
So here we go.
Rick Ross. Yeah, that's all we got. Here we go. And
This is a teaser, by the way, guys.
We do these every Thursday.
Yes. Fan of the music.
Fan of that DJ setup.
When it hurts, just to breathe. When you're down on your knees, you can call on me. I'll send you wings so you can meet me on the moon tonight. I'll send you wings so you can meet me on the moon tonight. Round and around again we go.
What a sweet little setup.
That's a dope wedding.
Yeah.
Cool. So this is a teaser. So I kind of I look at teasers pretty differently than
Yeah.
full films. I think the story structure is way less important. I think you want to tease the couple, but you don't need to necessarily get to know everyone, all that stuff. So what I'm looking for is draw me into the day, beautiful visuals, make me want to watch the full film. So with that in mind, what did you like about the film?
So I didn't realize that this would be a 30-second. So
It was a minute. It was a minute.
It was a minute. All right, there we go.
A minute and 7.
So I think it was shot there's a lot of great shots, especially look, this place is obviously beautiful. Hard to make it look bad. Although I'm sure somebody could.
I could definitely make it look bad. I could do it.
But also there's a lot going on, and I think you captured it really well. There are some creative shots. This is such a cool setup. So I'm glad it played a role in this film. I don't even know what that is, but it's screens or projector or whatever. I think we got a little bit of a sense of place, so I like seeing that. What really stood out to me was I think it's their first look. It's in that stairwell, and I think it's cool because that stairwell, the stairs are cool. It's these concrete or marble stairs or whatever, but generally that's not it's not a beautiful setting kind of, but you made it look good. I don't know that it worked, and it was a good moment. It was shot well, and yeah, that. I mean, I don't like seeing the little fire escape thing or whatever, but I think it was well shot. And knowing, I'm sure you had to call an audible, right, and do it there because the weather wasn't cooperating. So that can always be tough, but yeah, a lot of really good shots.
All right. So I have a lot of good stuff to say in terms of, knowing what's cool about a wedding and putting it in the actual film seems pretty basic, but the amount of times people just don't get it. I feel like they did a good job knowing what was cool and putting it in the film. I think I liked the song a lot. I thought the song was really good. It's a teaser, so it's hard for me to critique story too much, but I do think I got a sense of I feel like this is a teaser, right?
It is a teaser in every sense of
that they're wealthy, that they're Jewish, that they're gay, what they're into, right? You get a sense, a kind of a vibe for who they are and what the day was like and what their aesthetic is and all that junk. So I feel like also, it's effective in that way.
One thing I want to be sure to say too is you got some very good. I already said the place is obviously beautiful, and you got some very good shots of the room and the tables and stuff like that. And you included them because that's going to make this something that all those vendors are going to want to share too. So good on the business.
All right, let's talk about some things that we think this teaser might have been missing or areas where we think it could maybe be improved.
So I'm torn because it is a teaser, and I think that you don't need audio for that. But I kind of wish I had a little something.
Yeah, some people clapping a couple times or
there's a sound effect of the sparkler cannons. That's not what they are, but you know what I mean. Fountains or whatever. A couple times, but there wasn't to me a whole lot. the stomping of the glass and some clapping. I don't think that was there. That could have been cool. Or even like, I don't know, and you know, obviously you need the audio to do it, but if there was a good snippet of audio that could have fit in this, yeah, I think I don't have a whole lot to say.
I have a couple things because I've had the opportunity to shoot a fair amount of these types of weddings.
Yeah.
And what I know that's going on in a couple of these places is they're dealing with the typical thing where the planner blasts the front of the room with light and then it's wicked overexposed. Because I saw it, I think in some of the drone, wherever the, I don't know if it was an altar or a hopa or what it was, but wherever that was super overexposed from spotlights right there. A couple times you see those flowers and they're just blown out. You know, that's a little thing, but it is a thing to keep in mind with these weddings is
what would you do? Would you address that with the planner, or how does that, like, what's the solution there?
I light the aisles.
Right.
We always light up the aisle. And we try to get the level because it's all about ratios, right? If you understand lighting, it's all about ratios. It's like you can't have 5-to-1 shadow to highlight ratios or whatever it is. Like there's some number. That shot right there, super blown out. And so you can't always do everything about it, but I did notice that, and that's something. I think a lot of the outside stuff is too blue for me. I think it needs to be a little more, warmed up a little bit, especially because you're seeing their skin tones inside and warm, natural looking, and
very warm inside,
very cold outside,
which is fine. Not a bad warm, but just like
it looks great. I love how it looks on the inside. And then the last thing I was gonna say was, this is my biggest critique. There needs to be more compressed focal length. This film is like that shot right there.
Wide, huh?
Yeah, it's all wide. The whole film is like that. And this is why. That shot right there is a good example, right? This shot would look much, much cooler if it looked like the dance floor was full.
Oh, yeah.
But
actually, this was one shot.
Right here, right here.
Wait, why is this in here?
I wouldn't include those two because it looks like their party didn't necessarily pop off, right? And so I think it's just like I was missing like some of those tight shots of the tables.
And there are other shots that do really feel like that.
So getting that compressed look of the candles and the bokeh balls that you're getting when you're pushing it like at 85 mil. I mean, 7200 kind of just like, I think it just needs a little more of that perspective. Maybe it could give it a little more, even more polish. But I honestly think the film is really, really solid, and they should be super proud of it. And I'm sure the planner loved it. I'm sure the couple loved it. My critiques are more shooting technique things that I would have tried to do differently in the scenario. All that to say,
pretty small overall. Like,
I will say, knowing Modern Love and the films that they make, they're very good filmmakers, and so they're not going to be small to them.
True.
Like, if they make these changes, it's a big improvement.
Yeah.
They're small. They're borderline, not even mistakes. They're just like, I think when you reach a certain level,
approaches.
When you reach a certain level as a filmmaker, especially in a luxury space, it's all about getting that much better. It's not so much that you're doing something wrong. It's like, okay, every opportunity to get better. I mean, I'm about to do one in May. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I know what my concept is. I know what we're going to try to do, but it could totally fail, you know? So, so I'm just, that's my little critique on this. It's a good film. You guys do awesome work. So thank you for submitting it.
Cool. Well, hopefully that was helpful.
Yep.
Excuse me. While we're queuing up the next one, Allie says, so you mentioned lighting the aisles. Do you light the aisles from the side, the back, or the front? Or does it
a little bit depends, but I typically will light it from behind the stage, so that way, because the thing I'm trying to prevent is when they walk in the room and you see their face during the processional, I want to see their face, right? And then they're backlit when they're walking down, which is fine. Like, you get a little wrap and stuff, but then you can like kind of keep it a similar exposure, and you're never blowing out those You're never blowing out the front of the room. That's kind of my goal, is like, even if it's backlit and interesting looking, I don't know if you're because typically I'll shoot someone walking, recessing with a wide angle, like 24 mil, especially inside, 35 maybe, because you got to be close and everything's tight. So I feel like you're getting a lot of light from the stage and stuff, and you can still see them, and maybe their faces are shadowy, but it looks fine. So I don't really see the point in shooting another light on the stage,
like from the back.
Yeah, so we shoot from the front and try to fix the problem of when they walk in the room, they're super poorly exposed, or they're right exposed, and then you whip around and shoot the front of the stage and it's blown out. Yeah. So our goal is to shoot the back of the room, turn around, and it's still exposed correctly. Yeah. So but it helps when they're walking down the aisle, because it looks, they're nice and backlit and all that junk. So here's our next film.
All right. Up next, is this from Mist and Moss, Jason?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So up next we have Mist and Moss from Chad. Found it. Let's see here. Filmed on the Fuji X-T4. It was a good day. Worked with this luxury high-end photographer. Not my favorite. Yeah, that happens. I don't know. I don't know. That's a deep dive. Despite that challenge, I think we were still able to create a good film. Mixing the audio is a bit of a challenge, so that doesn't sound amazing. So Jay, I'll probably defer to you on audio, as I usually do. This is a 5 to 7 minute film, so we'll watch about 5 minutes of it. I don't know exactly how long it is. So. All right. Relax, and here we go.
Here we go.
We made it! To everyone who's been congratulating us on our little sister getting married before us, thank you so much for the reminder. We're totally fine. But in all seriousness, we are so happy for our little sister. I mean, has everyone met Bailey? I'm pretty sure that everyone that leaves a conversation with Bailey thinks the same thing. Did I just fall in love?
Bailey's been around for a while. A couple years in, I was happy just because there was a guy in the house. And one night we had dinner. Bailey cooked on the grill, and then he cleaned up, and he was the dishwasher. They took the trash out, and then I watched, and he was sitting, and he's now playing the piano, and he's singing, and he's dancing, and then he played the guitar a little bit, and he's got a glass of really good bourbon. And Kathy and I were watching, and she said, "Oh my God, what happens if they break up?" And I said, "I don't know." And she said, "Well, look, I'll go out with them."
Section 1.
Sarah, you look beautiful. Well, stunning. Stunning outside, stunning inside. And your mother and I are very, very proud of you. All that you've accomplished and the woman that you've become. You're everything we dreamed of, everything we hoped for. You've turned into that, and we're really, really happy.
Bailey and Sarah, today is more than just a union of you two. It's a union of families. And it's a beautiful thing.
Our little boy. Bailey, if I could draw up a son, I'd draw somebody up that looked like you. They are great individuals, but you're better as a couple because you two lift each other up. And that's something that you always want to remember and you never want to stop. So I ask everybody to raise their glass. Let's toast for a long and happy life together, Sarah and Bailey.
Cheers to Bailey and Sarah.
We love you guys. Cheers.
You said my skin feels just like falling. I know I can't help it. I'm always calling you to where you've been.
I, Bailey, take you, Sarah, to be my wife.
I, Sarah, take you, Bailey, to be my husband,
I promise to be true to you in good times and in bad.
in sickness and in health,
I will love you and honor you
all the days of my life.
all the days of my life.
Will the feeling go away? Is it night or is it day? It doesn't matter anyway. Is it night or is it day? With me and with you, and all the things that we do. With me and with you.
Ooh, it's all love now, feel it here. Turn it off, turn it off, turn it on. It's all love, oh yeah, when it feels so right. It's all love to bring you to the light. It's all love, oh yeah, when it feels so right. Feel that love away. And it's real. How I feel. Got to get it, 'cause it's all love. It's all love, oh yeah, when it feels so right. It's all love to bring you to the light. It's all love, oh yeah, when it feels so right. Feel that love away.
Okay, Bobby. Bobby. Here we
You
go.
want me to go first, or you want to go first this time?
I'll go first. Here's what I like about that
Switching it
film. The most. I like the fact that this film really, I say this a lot, but it really is my priority with the film. My priority with the film is obviously cool shots, but also,
Dope shots. Bro.
yeah, it has to be cool, but also reflecting who the couple is, right? Because I'm a business guy, right? If I give you something that reflects you, I know you're gonna be happy. Like, and I know if it doesn't fit you, you're not gonna be happy. That's ultimately part of the art form. And I think, like, the more I spent time with the couple, I remember, like, I was trying to figure out, is this who these people are? Like, okay, the first thing I was like, oh, this guy's kissing her nonstop. Like, I don't like how much kissing is in the film. But then I literally was like watching, and every single time, like, even when he was unsolicited, this guy was kissing on this girl. And that's great. Like, you might go like, that's his personality. You're just
He
putting
loves his wife, Jay.
He loves
Sue
her.
him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Come
no,
on.
it's great. So I think, like, ultimately you put the couple first in the edit. And I think that was a strong decision. And this was also fun. Like, it felt like people who are you want to be around and a party you want to go to. And I think that's great.
Yeah, I think you represented them really well. I agree that I think you very much made their film. Like, I think their personality shines in this and is a good reflection of who they are as a couple.
That's like baseline, like not just baseline. I would say that's like above baseline, but like as a filmmaker, right, Bobby? Like this is like, to me, the success or fail criteria.
Yeah, I think, you know, there are definitely times where we see a couple that's kind of shoehorned into this feel or this vibe that the filmmaker wants. And you know, that's its own thing where it's like, hey, look, you're going after something different, you're trying something different, and there's some props to be given there, but sometimes it just doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
yeah,
mean,
don't
I've
think
done
that was
those
the case
edits.
here.
You've done
So,
those edits.
yeah.
We've all done those edits where we miss the mark. So it's not.
Yeah,
I think you hit the mark.
Yeah, I agree. I also think you had a lot. I don't know if this is one or two shooters or whatever, but it just felt like a lot of coverage. Like, yeah, I think in a good way. Like, I think you had a lot to work with. You had tons of dance floor footage, you know, lots of kind of little in between moments and stuff like that too. It felt like so.
Yep. Loved it. So, okay,
Yeah,
what are
so
some
things
things
to improve on?
Yeah, what do you think first, Bobby?
Okay, I'm going to refer to my list, which I wrote on my phone because I can't find a pen at my desk. Okay.
Hold on,
So
before you do that, can I just say I'm noticing a lot of these things. Like, these people are. Is this the parent dance or what is going on here? Like, no one's in this wedding.
They're all gone. They're all at the cigar bar.
Where is everyone? Anyway,
I don't know. Okay. So I didn't love the intro to start.
Okay. Let's talk about that on
I
itself.
piqued Jay's interest.
No, because honestly, the first minute, I was like, I don't know if I like this film.
Yeah, it got better as it went on. Actually, I would say the first 30 seconds or whatever, I don't know, like up until that we heard that first speech, maybe it's 15 seconds or something like that, especially that felt like the opposite of what we were just saying. Like, overall, the film felt like the couple, but that section felt like you were pushing something that didn't really fit there.
Okay, I'm going to wait to give my full feedback. I will only say I agree with you.
Okay. So yeah, I didn't love that. And I think part of it was like, it was a bunch of overlays and fast cuts and it didn't match the music for me. And I think that was a disconnect. So I'm curious to hear Jay's thoughts. And I don't think it served like the overall film, basically. So I didn't love that. A couple other things that really stood out to me. I didn't like the way you broke down. You heard Jay say that was part one. And then there was also a distinct part 2 and part 3. Those breaks did not, like, those took me out of the film. And I think what you're looking to do is you're looking to keep a viewer engaged and within the world that you created, the world of these people's wedding. And when you have these hard breaks and these hard, like, it's almost like you could have thrown like a record scratch sound effect in there. You know what I mean? It's abrupt and it just takes you out of the world as the viewer.
My thing is, it didn't tell anyone anything new.
Yeah, it was
the
just
intro.
Like,
it was just like
I think you can have abrupt. Abrupt isn't inherently bad, but there has to be a reason for it.
Yeah.
And it was just like, just kidding. Now we're on the slow section, and like that doesn't work for me. And then the other things that I would say, I would have liked to see a different angle on the speeches.
Oh, I was also watching that, and I was like, "Why?" I'm wondering, Bobby, if just old guys like us that are bringing 7200s to weddings still.
That's because we've been bringing them for years, and our body can handle it.
Well, I would just say though, like I don't know how people cover speeches without a 7200 lens.
I have probably shot speeches, at least the main shot, on a 78-200 at every wedding for at least 5 years.
I've done it for
probably
12
years. Yeah.
Like my entire.
I'm trying to think when I switched to a Sony 78-200, but there was a time when I was adapting a Canon one, and I might have opted not to use that sometimes because it was annoying. But
yeah, true. But it seems like every time there isn't like a long telephoto lens on the speeches, I notice it. And
I just dislike. It's like, I have seen
there's
some
too much
very,
context.
Very good. Yeah, I've seen some very, very good wide angle speech shots where like there's a bunch of candlelight and there's a nice light on the speech giver and you can see a little bit of the audience. Like,
sure, those are great. Yeah,
and I love those. I think they're really, really hard to execute is what I think.
We can't hide anything.
Neither of these angles work for me. Your one that's kind of straight on, it's not totally straight on, but closer to straight on, is wide, probably a 50 or something like that. and the band is behind them, like prepping their instruments and whatever. You need a 7200, bokeh that band out of there, and ideally, in that scenario with that band, I mean, granted, I don't know what the whole thing looks like. I would have gone more profile and gone from the side and shot long down the tent and had even more bokeh and separation. And then your other shot is a wider shot, looks like a, I don't know, 24 millimeter or something, low to the ground, shooting up on people and cut off above their ankles. Like, that is a no.
Well, there's also a storytelling component. Like, there's a great book I read. Dang it. I'm going to mess up the name. Some week I'll bring it.
Here it comes.
When I used to teach, I taught high school video, and I would teach framing, right? And I would always talk to people about, like, framing is storytelling. Like how you frame someone tells you what to think or look, and like a wide shot tells you to look at the environment.
Yep.
A tight shot
the
tells
environment there is like a messy stage.
It's not good,
and some tables
right?
that are far away.
A tight shot tells you look at this person's face.
It says, don't look at the environment. There's nothing to see here.
Not to mention the fact that a longer lens, the compression you get on the lens helps with
nice.
it. Typically, you
Separation.
can shoot a 2.8, and you can shoot a lot of bokeh. All that good stuff goes into the storytelling of hide the things you don't want, focus a viewer on what you want them to see.
I think if you look at any filmmaker that you consider, like, let me rephrase that. I feel like there's a lot of people who are like, oh, the best filmmaker, it's this guy. And I'm like, well, no, I don't know.
I think the filmmaker you knew, or the first one you heard about, is what they usually do.
Yeah. But like, I think that there are, if you look at the top tier filmmakers as decided as an industry whole, let's put it that way, the guys who are actually,
if you were asked the best people, who the best people are.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at, Sculpting with Time, when you looked at Fiore Films, when you look at Ray, when you look at kind of the top dogs, right? Henry Martins, these people creating, Fire and Ice, or Bottle Brush, like these, look, they have creative edits sometimes. They have cool things going on in their film if it fits right. But the one thing that is consistent with all of those people is every frame is so intentional. Every shot that makes the cut, Ray was talking about this a little bit last week, is so intentional.
Well,
and
let's even look at
people overlook.
Let's even look at this right here. There's a shot, and this is, we're getting into criticisms, I guess, but like, there's a couple shots here where I'm like, okay, that's a weird shot. Like, that shot's a little. This shot right here, I left it on it because it just was like, why include this?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you should include this shot. Like,
there's a lot that I would have cut out of this, I think.
Like, this shot right here, she's like making 7 different faces, going through 7 stages of grief or something. like, and there's nothing wrong. Like, I think the reason is usually, these are all the people that they want. And I get that reason.
I do think for this couple, that fits a little bit more.
Sure. You know what I'm going to say?
I still agree.
This is going to be my critique, and it goes with what you're saying, because I think I want to do them together, because I really think, first of all, this is a good filmmaker. Here's how I felt about the film. I felt like the beginning was them trying to do something that they're not comfortable with. Once they slowed that film down and they started
talking about that intro kind of. Yep.
The second that film slowed down, it felt infinitely better.
Yep. I agree. I would have started on something like slower and more. They are it seems a very tight-knit family, tight-knit community, like very loving towards each other as a couple and towards their families. Like, that's a really good Father of the Bride speech.
Excellent. There's a lot of excellent things. I feel like this film. So here's the one thing about filmmaking. As a filmmaker, there are things that are good and bad, and then there are things that are good for you and bad for you. Because of who you are, right? Who this filmmaker is they love the people they're working with. The fact that they shot almost no table details tells you something.
Yeah.
The fact that they didn't shoot the tent that I saw. I don't see a wide push in of that tent, right?
Not really. There's one at the end.
I would tell you should include those, by the way, if you want to keep working with high-end planners. You should include that stuff. That being said, there's something good to learn, which is when you, as a filmmaker, feel good, like it feels natural to you and you feel like the storytelling is just popping and it just comes naturally and it's like breathing. Do more of that. Don't do things that don't feel good. And like, I don't mean don't stretch yourself. You know, fine. You want to keep pushing, do it. But I think as a filmmaker, when I'm watching this, I was like, this filmmaker, like they're doing like the dad coming down. It's a lot of ambient audio. I felt like just the storytelling was flowing naturally and it was really, really, really successful. And what I would tell to them is it's not so much a critique for you. It's me saying like, hey, listen, push yourself. You know, I'm not saying you don't need to do certain things. Like I would say, no matter how you choose to storytell, your table shots, you need those details. And just in general, it needed more detail shots. It needed more establishing shots. It needed way more B-roll. The film was just people.
Yeah, I would have traded out a lot of those people shots.
Yeah, it needed like nicer, more curated, high-end B-roll.
I think it would elevate it as a whole.
That being said, I also think don't try to just fit with the trends. Tell the type of stories that feel natural to you and like reflect the couples in ways that feel good to you. I think every time you did something that I could tell was like you clicked with, it was really successfade. Yeah. And when you did things that I felt like just in general, I'm not a big fan of endless crossfades, Bobby. That's what bothered me about the beginning of just like crossfade. I could not even see the shots.
And,
they were just they were never even fully on the screen. They're just crossfading.
And it was like a crossfade of like some of these shots are not
like
your best shot.
Like a random guy with a tuba. It just so I think it's a great film and there's a lot to love here. And I think like as a filmmaker, just like trust yourself.
Yeah, I would really encourage you to lean into your couples because you did that really well and your style. And I would encourage you to not look. There's nothing wrong with trying something out of the box and trying something new, but I would make sure it is at the right part of the film and with the right couple.
Yeah, I would agree. Good, really solid film though. I don't have a ton of I do think the B-roll critique is specific. I think the storytelling critique is more like, you know, just tell the stories that feel good to you. Don't try to be like everyone else. I'll say that.
Cool. Well, that is film number 2. Let's see. We got some comments here.
Yep. I'm the hardest critique in the wedding industry.
I'm not quite there yet. We'll get on that one. Let's see. Thank you from Modern Love Productions. Said it was helpful. Thank you so much for submitting. We appreciate that. Chris saying filming a clear top wedding on Saturday. Well, that was not clear, right? That was a white tent. But yeah, tent nonetheless. Yeah, tents are always, man, I don't know. Sometimes I've had tents that just look really good. Like I had a wedding. Actually, I think it was my last wedding of the year, maybe. And it was a tent, and I was like, oh.
Tinted weddings that is the luxury wedding now.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. But this tent it was different. It wasn't the standard tent. It actually looked nice. And they decorated it nice. It had tons and tons of greenery and flowers draped. And so it looked very beautiful. But good luck with that. Chris, our submissions from a few weeks ago still in the pool? Not really. Pretty much if we didn't get to you on the week that you submit again is the best way to say that. And if you want your film reviewed, look at that segue. You can click the link that is pinned to the top of the chat. Takes you to our website, weddingfilm.school/live-review, and you can submit your film for our review. And if you want priority in getting your films reviewed, check out the people in chat. See those green names and that cool Wedding Film School logo next to them? Those are our very wonderful members that we are so appreciative of. And if you want priority in getting your films reviewed, you can become a member. It costs just $5 a month, and you can cancel whenever. And that helps us continue to create free content for you guys. And it also gets you priority in getting your films reviewed. So please consider doing that and helping out the channel. We love you all for that, including our non-members, of course. Max pretty much nailed it on the head. Review pool gets refreshed every Thursday. Every now and then we might pull if we're like, we really wanted to do this film, but they weren't there in chat or something like that. Modern Love saying they bring 3 70th 200s to a wedding, Jay. Can you top that?
I mean, I could. I own more than that.
Do you choose to top
I
that?
don't choose to. I honestly think like if you are
Sometimes I wish I had two. at
no
a wedding.
two to me. Okay, this is what I'm going to tell. This is will change the game for you guys. This 270-200s, one on bride, one on groom, some mid focal length.
That feels nice.
Zoom lens in the back, a 24-70s type thing for your back camera angle. And then I always have one handheld camera and one gimbal. So if we're doing like a high-end event, I'm doing 5 cameras.
Well, that's a lot of cameras. Sean, Jason has the hardest critique in the wedding film industry, but there is a counter from Max Smith on this saying, Jason is a cakewalk compared to Ray Roman. He'll grow hair on chicks.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that either. I was gonna say I might disagree with that. Maybe like if you catch Ray in a bad mood or something. I don't know.
No, this
Ray
is all
like pretty awesome.
This is what I'll tell you guys about what Ray will say. Like if I do a film critique, I will pick films that aren't that solid, and Ray will text me and be like, "Don't pick those films. Those films are terrible. No one learns anything from that." Like. My philosophy is people which is fine. I totally get where he's coming from. But my philosophy is like, hey, no matter where you are as a filmmaker, you can learn and grow. I will say sometimes people my office will laugh at me because however I act on camera, they're like, oh, Jay was biting his tongue so much. And then they'll they always will make meme videos and spread them around the office.
That's because Jay doesn't want me to have to clean up a mess and be like, I promise we're nice people.
Yes. Yeah. So the next one is a overseas film. So what do we got here?
Yeah. So we've got.
Or should
Julian
we do
Milan?
Should we do the one that was submitted for MZP? More Zoom, please. Should we do that?
Oh, let's do. We've already introduced Julian twice.
All right.
I feel like we should just do it.
Okay.
Because Julian's in chat, I believe.
Yeah.
Julian, sound off if you're still here. I know you were here earlier, but we are now doing your films. Sorry for the confusion. I had them in the wrong order.
That was my fault.
Yeah, it might have been, but all right, so Sony A7 III, A64 under Mavic Pro. It was a 3-day wedding on the French island. How do you pronounce this? Corsa?
Could be Corsica or Corsa.
Corsi? It's Corse.
I don't know.
I don't know. White card from the couple. I don't know what that means. It was a good experience. Oh, probably he could do whatever he wanted. Or she. I think it's a he. And the first time in Corset for me. So discover a beautiful place, and it was great for me. It's my 3rd year as a wedding videographer when I shot this. No wedding planner, only a photographer. Did a day after the wedding by the sea to give more cinematic atmosphere. Great time with a great couple. And if you know how to pronounce that city in France, Corse, spell it out for me with pronunciations in chat.
Yes. I mean, it looks beautiful. So here we go. Here's this film.
This place looks pretty ugly. I don't know.
This is a kind of a different vibe on this one, so I wanted to show it to you. But also a familiar vibe because it's this song.
What song is this? I recognize.
It's just another. It's the Alex Douglas song. Beautiful song. I think it's Hans Zimmer.
What? That's not how it was spelled. Oh, yeah.
All right. So I think there's a lot to unpack there. So let's do it.
So some people saying it seemed like a bad connection, so sorry about that. But Kyle saying he's using his imagination to envision it properly. So everybody take after Kyle. All right.
It's not a bad connection. There was so much going on. I think for streaming, it didn't really work properly.
It's like through 3 different things and then YouTube destroys it. But we believe that it is probably more fluid, of course, in real life. Okay. So things that I guess I will go first because we've alternated so far. Okay. I think that this, I think there's a good, I'm really glad that you did the shots by the ocean. I think it's a cool element. It looks like you maybe did it. I don't know if you did it the day of too, because there's stuff in their wedding dress and then there's stuff in like that red outfit. So I don't know if that's 2 different things. I think you have some like high-end feeling shots of the couple, like some very like what's the word I'm thinking of?
Elevated.
Commercial. Yeah, not elevated, but you know what I mean. Like
no.
Like
I have no idea what you're trying to say.
Editorial, high-end,
yes,
like posed. And I think those shots especially work really well with the song at times. I think the song, I think we're going to get to that. I have some thoughts on that on the negative side, but I do like that you've kind of built up over time. And I think that kind of worked in the edit. I do think, again, the song, I'm going to come back to that, but I think in some ways you were kind of pushing what an edit can look like and feel like and whatever for a wedding film, but which I think is always a good thing, but I don't think you I don't think you push too far. And I think especially with a song like this and like knowing that you kind of went into it trying to push the boundaries, one of my concerns or things that I see often, I feel like, is like, all right, they went overboard.
I think they definitely went overboard, but that's my opinion.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I would have switched the song at a certain point. I think the song was too epic for a lot of what was being shown. But
I think it was too epic for all of it, personally. Just me.
But I'm saying, like, I don't think it was like a million whoosh transitions and crazy zoom. Like, we've seen some like crazy edits, and I'm glad we didn't see
the edit was restrained enough. I will say that for sure. But the footage, the wedding, the couple definitely did not match the song. But what I like about the film is the location was awesome. And you got an extra portrait sessions, which was great. Doing the B-roll was nice. I do think there was some really certain moments that got me where I was like, oh, this is going to be really cool. Like this shot, I liked it. This is a cool shot.
Yeah.
Like few moments where I could tell
Did you like seeing it twice?
No, I didn't. And so that's what I'm going to get into, because I want to get into critiques, because this film is a bit of a Trojan horse because it looks better than I think it is. And it makes the film look good. And this is smart, by the way. The filmmaker is hiding some of the flaws that they have or inexperience. They're hiding their gear. They're shooting on older cameras and things like that. All that stuff is fine. I could see your highlights breaking up from time to time. But I think here's my biggest critique with this film. This filmmaker doesn't really seem to care about covering weddings that much. Like it's funny is like when you look at this, first of all, too much of the back of people's heads, by the way. Lots of shots like this where it's just...
I don't actually know what the groom looks like.
Not really. Like there's one shot of him staring at the camera.
People,
but almost no, nothing that was intimate, nothing. For something like this elevated, I would expect to see really great posing and really great eye contact from the couple and just a super high level of buy-in. And I kind of felt like they were just posing at like a normal wedding and you're just like whooshing around and trying to make it fit.
Well, so what's the answer there? Because I think sometimes you don't get that buy-in. You know what I mean?
Well, you can't make this film then. But here's the thing. Like I'm looking at this and it's like you start to get to these moments, right? And this is like throwaway footage. Like
yeah, the actual coverage of the wedding didn't match.
yeah, like right here, like this is dark and these people are just like looking and like it's cut way too fast and a bunch of these shots like are poorly white balanced, and then you'll see like the camera, like he'll like like right here at the beginning of the first look, they're holding the shot right, and then they go like and like dip their frame, and this is the thing is if you're gonna try to do something, a film like this that wants to be so polished, like the style of editing you're trying to do is all about like so polished, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't include this shot.
Mm-hmm.
You can't include
There was
it.
actually a lot with the bride. I have that written down.
Right here, at the end of that shot, the frame goes up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, why include that? Like, it doesn't go. If you're going to try to do sculpting with time, you got to do sculpting with time. If you're going to try to, like right here, watch.
Well, you can't just do sculpting with time in the edit and not the shooting.
Exactly. You have to cover the event and give yourself enough content. And like we're having like this epic music and it's just like shots of like how much shots do we have of these people walking up the aisles?
Well,
walking
one of
up
the
and
things that
down
I
the
find
aisles.
interesting, Jay, and actually this is confirmed. So Julian in chat says that this is the highlight of a 20-minute film.
That's
and
fine.
I'm very curious what would be in that film, because one of the things that I thought with this is that there wasn't enough content to do a film like this with all these fast-paced cutting. Like, not enough happened, in my opinion. We don't see, like, it's mostly just them on the coast and, like, a little bit of prep. And, you know...
Honestly, they should keep making films like this. I don't want a person to, like, change who they are because of what I'm saying.
No, if that's what they like
what I
doing.
specifically just want to say is if you are gravitating towards this cinematic style, it's unforgiving.
Polish your shooting.
It's unforgiving. Like, you can't have throwaway stuff.
I actually think that we and just the industry in general is a lot harsher on something like this.
It has to be
because
you're shooting for the moon.
Yeah,
you
Which
are
is not
like
a bad thing.
it's not nothing. Go for it. Keep doing it. Just know like you need better story, better B-roll, no throwaway shots.
Yeah, I think story. So I guess kind of jumping into my thoughts, the story is a big comment for me because I think one of the things, if you looked at sculpting with time or whatever, there's always those audio elements and that story element driving forward and stuff. And that's what allows you, I think, to use a song like this, even use it in full maybe, is, I don't know, it complements the epicness of the song to have this like story throughout it too. And that was really lacking for me in this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think I kind of said everything else. Yeah, I think use of light during prep could have been done a lot better to better match some of the more epic shots too. Kind of like what Jay was saying, that, like your shooting has to match it.
I would critique the color too, by the way, Bobby, but because he's on like a bit of an older camera, I think he said A7 III.
A7 III and the A60.
Like, I don't want to like get too critical. I will say if it another level you're gonna have to add is like getting more consistent with your color throughout the film.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have a lot of overexposed stuff. You have a lot of things that are.
That was the last thing I was gonna say. I think, especially given the direction of this film being like this more like epic, journey. All that intro stuff. I actually don't think your intro shots were your best shots. First of all. I think you have better shots elsewhere in the film of the couple. And then also, I think a lot of that I would have shot a lot darker, and I think that would have fit. I mean, you wouldn't have clipped your highlights as much in those opening handful of shots. And then also, I think it would have fit the vibe of the film a little bit better too.
If it's 3 days too, I want to feel like you were there for 3 days.
Yeah.
I don't think it felt like that. So,
yeah. But we appreciate you submitting. We like seeing people push boundaries. And I like, ultimately I like that you're leaning into what you want to create. And like Jay said, we're not telling you don't do this.
No, you should do it. You should keep doing this stuff.
And like push yourself, especially in the shooting too, and be really intentional. Because
do it better.
Yeah. That's our mantra, guys. Do it, but do it better. That's what we're going to end every critique with from here on out.
So here we go. So this is the last one, and this is what I tell you. I want to be honest with you ahead of time. I'm not going to review this whole film. This film has a long ways to go.
Is this from MZP?
Yes, and I'm very appreciative of you submitting, and I'm appreciative of you harassing us to review it. And I'm appreciative that you're a member.
Yes.
But I'm going to be as honest as I can, and knowing that you are a new filmmaker.
Yeah, I mean, I think we want to meet you where you're at always. Like, we know that critiquing somebody's first wedding or fifth wedding or 20th wedding at a certain level is different than critiquing, a Sculpting with Time film or Fiore.
Well, you might have a bunch of gear or not a bunch of gear.
Yeah, there's tons of variables, and the day of, we don't always know what happened or whatever. But with that said, we do pride ourselves, I would say, Jay, on being... I think there are other film reviews that are just going to sugarcoat everything and not really give you some tangible stuff to work on and just kind of make you feel good, and that is not us.
No, unfortunately, this one I'm going to have to give it the business a little bit, but I'm going to try to also be helpful and respectful, because you're an artist and I want to respect that. So Here we go. I'm going to skip around this one.
MZP, and I don't have any more info.
That's what I'll tell you. They have this is shot on a Panasonic G100, which is like a $550 camera. So this is a very, very, very entry-level person. Yeah. And you can see the limitations of the camera, so I want to be respectful of that too.
Yeah, I think it's something we can just touch on, acknowledge, and probably move on. MZP, can you let us know where you are located?
Okay, so off the bat, I'm just going to live review this as we go. This is not good.
Yeah, this I would take this out. I don't actually love, in general, Jay, like these like title cards at the beginning of films. Some people do it well.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. This is just...
But this is over the top.
Tacky.
In a bad way.
Get rid of it. It's bad. If you don't know what a good font is, go hire someone who will tell you good fonts.
If you don't know what a good font is, people can chime in comments here, but we all know it's to
But
make
also,
it as small
honestly,
as possible.
the very worst part about this is the red carpet.
Yeah.
The red thing. Like, it's just cheesy. So don't include that. Oh, no, never mind. That's the worst part.
Brittany.
So this is the other thing I'm going to tell you about your film. Your white balance and color is
off,
totally wrong, almost the entire film. Like,
I wonder, I don't even think this would be like auto. This seems like it was
on tungsten, and he just walked outside and shot tungsten. It's just way off. Like my opinion is, like, if someone paid you to do this is pretty unacceptable to shoot this incorrectly.
And I think that would be like, I would go to something that isn't as high pressure as a wedding. And I would practice. I would just do a lot more practice, because I think you'll see, like, these are things where in the moment, I think it's really hard for you to be like, if you're newer to the wedding industry, so many things are going through your head, and to say like, oh my gosh, my white balance is off, I got to fix it. But like, you want to get to the point where that's not even like a like it's not even like, it's like breathing. It's second nature.
Yeah,
you just notice.
You can't shoot that off. It's like I can see that you're just don't understand color grading either. Like this right here, I don't know why that's all out of focus. This right here is purely digital zoomed, by the way, and your words aren't in focus. Like don't include it. That's the biggest thing I'll tell you is don't include things that are shot poorly. All right.
Yeah, I would make a film that's a tenth the length and take out all the stuff that's bad.
There's all kinds of just like
out of focus.
Almost every shot is incorrectly white balanced, and almost every shot is incorrectly exposed. And then there's like a level of just very handheld shaky.
What so the G whatever you said, G100 or something,
It's 4K, but
Yeah, but like, what's the autofocus like? Because that's a Panasonic, which
super
doesn't have
bad.
great autofocus.
Super
yeah,
bad
So I think a
autofocus.
lot of this might be trusting autofocus, and you know, if you don't have a monitor, it's a small screen, it's bright out, you might not even see that it's out of focus or something. And like, I wouldn't. There's not a lot of cameras where I would trust autofocus. There are some, and that is not one of them.
I want to show you one thing that I see with new filmmakers all the time. New filmmakers, a lot of times, they got a drone, right? They got this guy has some 360 camera right here, which is better exposed and better white balance than his other footage. They got the crazy
It's like throwing in all the toys.
intro theme. There's more effects coming up, by the way. And yet, they still don't know how to expose their image and white balance their image. And I always tell people, like, if you should get to the point where you can walk into a room and say, this is 4,200 Kelvins, 2,000 ISO at 2.8.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is what you're going for. You want to be able to instantly evaluate an exposure with your eyes and evaluate like a white balance with your eyes. Like right here, we're getting into like, this just doesn't work in the wedding industry.
Yeah.
You know, it could, I can imagine a wedding where maybe this could be a cool effect, but not this wedding.
Yeah, I think that's fair. You know, one of the things that I think this is a great example of, if you can find somebody in your area who is doing decent work. I don't even think it has to be top end of your area.
Just consistent, they're working, they have a job.
Yep. I think that you would benefit greatly from second shooting under somebody. And also grab a friend, go outside, and you don't have to shoot them. Like, what do they like to do? Oh, they like to play soccer? Get some shots of them playing soccer. Oh, they like to chop wood in the forest? Go shoot that. I don't care. Like, get something where you can go out and you can practice your white balance and you can see what skin tones are supposed to look like. And you can get more consistent with that and your camera movements and stuff. And then go second shoot for somebody for like a year. I mean, I always recommend that anyway. I know that like there are many paths to a successful career in the wedding filmmaking world, and that's just one of them. But I think especially in this scenario where it's like, look, you're interested, but I think you need somebody to kind of like, you know, we can review your films every few weeks or something like that, but like you need somebody hands-on who can kind of keep you in check with, you know, who can peek over your shoulder when there's time and say, hey man, your white balance, like it's set to tungsten, we're not inside. And like over time, you're going to learn.
There was almost not a single steady in focus, properly white balanced, properly exposed image in the entire film.
Yeah.
And that's what I'll say is like, that's why I need to like, you need to learn how to shoot. And you do need a better camera, but mainly like you could have shot cleaner.
I wouldn't push for another camera at this point though.
No.
Because I don't think that having a newer, better camera, whatever, it will solve some of those issues, right? If you throw it on auto white balance, it'll probably do better than.
Yeah, sure. The metering will be better. The autofocus will be better.
Generally, it's not going to fix these problems. Like it's just going to replace the problems or make them more complicated or something. So yeah, I mean, I'm just going to say it again. I think getting out and practicing, like, I don't know if you've shot a lot of video content, or maybe you really haven't had anybody who's critical and willing to point out flaws, go through something that you've done. But I think the nice thing is a lot of these issues are pretty solvable. I mean, they're not solvable necessarily at this point for this wedding, but like understanding your exposure, how to read your meters or look at your screen, understanding your white balance, like they're not super difficult concepts. You just need to like, I don't know, Jay, like there was a certain time early in my career where like I didn't understand certain things, and then all of a sudden it just kind of clicked. And it clicked because I went out and I was shooting whatever, just to shoot, just to understand my camera better. Yeah, and I think that would be the 100% biggest step for this.
Reduce what you're trying to decide.
Yeah.
Like only like make it easy. Like say today my success is nail my white balance. Today
I'm gonna go out and expose everything correctly.
Nail my exposure, all that stuff. Shooting weddings is really freaking hard, and it's really important too. The thing about you got to keep in mind is like this couple might not care, and it was free, but they. And by the way, don't believe people when they say they don't care, and don't like they do care. And if it's free, but that's still like they're still gonna want to see it.
Yeah.
Right. And so like I would tell you like you should be able to nail white balance, or at least be close to nail white balance, but definitely you at least should be able to shoot an in focus image that's steadily held.
Yeah.
Because that's I think like what people deserve.
Yeah,
from
like
someone covering their wedding.
Like why are you handheld? Get a tripod. Be on a tripod all day.
Get a monopod.
That's fine, or a monopod. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like and I think
basics.
ultimately I would just avoid a wedding right now unless you're second shooting. Like I think being the main person at a wedding, at a earlier in your career in wedding in filmmaking or whatever at this stage, like there are so many things that are going to be running through your mind, like wedding specifically, because there's such a high stress environment. Like I think you're not doing yourself any favors in doing that. And I think you'd do a lot better practicing outside of weddings or second shooting with somebody that a lot of that stress and a lot of that responsibility falls off your shoulders. And I think it would allow you to like settle down. Like this just feels like you were running around chaotically really fast and not keeping up with camera settings and stuff, where like if you if you can settle down and really like lean into like, okay, right now, like we said, I'm going to be on a tripod and I'm just going to expose everything right.
Well, even like right here, there's no reason why any of the stuff that's at this nighttime shoot should be overexposed. But some of it is.
Yeah.
Right? It's like like that shot right there is totally overexposed. It's like you just got to give yourself a little more to work with in post before I can even talk about the editing. The editing to me is not great, but I think the shooting is the first thing you got to focus on and just nail this stuff.
Some of this, I think the edit would work. I mean, there are choices in the edit that we would, pick apart, but there are also like, if all this was exposed well, white balance well, in focus, this edit would look a lot better in hair. So it's hard
definitely
to dive into.
Definitely. For sure.
So I think all that to say, look, guys, it takes guts to submit a film regardless, especially early on in your career. So we really appreciate the submission, and we hope that our words are helpful. I know it's critical, but I do think the takeaway is, look, you can figure this stuff out. It's not rocket science. It just takes practice. And like, look, if you love making films, ultimately, like you should go for it. And you have to practice and get some more weddings under your belt and get some other stuff under your belt and figure out some camera settings. But that's all very doable. And hopefully you'll continue to pursue it.
Hey guys, so a couple things. New BTS videos we have one actually uploaded right now, which we're gonna make a few changes on. But really, honestly, the new BTS video will probably drop tomorrow, which is kind of fun. Cool. If we can make some changes, or Monday, one or the other. But in the next couple of days, and then we have another one dropping within a couple weeks of that. And then we're shooting one at a really crazy wedding in May, Bobby. Like 3-day epic, huge thing.
You're gonna BTS that?
Yeah, we are. And then we're doing a BTS. Hopefully, it depends on the scheduling stuff. We might be doing one down in a luxury in Georgia, like a private island kind of thing. So we got a couple things. Yeah. Website reviews, we do them kind of whenever.
When we get bored.
So we had a good question. Let's end with this one. 87 Smith, he asked, what filmmakers should people be watching to learn? Beginners.
Yeah.
So here's a question I have with that one, Bobby. What I often notice with people as filmmakers is they watch like the best of the best, right?
Yeah.
And they try to emulate these techniques, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's inspiring and all that good stuff. But I do wonder if it's always the best place to start.
That's a really interesting question. I don't know. Man, I think watching some of the top filmmakers is good. I think it can push you to what you want to strive for. but I don't think if you're a beginner, you should only be watching those films.
Here's what I'll say about that. If you can watch them, if you keep one key understanding with these films, Bobby, these people, they're very experienced, so that's one. They're doing things that like are second nature that might be hard for another person to do with all their might. That's one. I think the second one is this. For whatever reason, they've built up their career to such a place where they no longer are dealing with some of the crap you're dealing with.
That's what I was going to say.
And,
like, I think a lot of their weddings are they're going to be unrealistic to what you are going to be seeing. And
I would say
they've earned that. But
yeah, 100%. So Bobby and I, as filmmakers, we shoot nice weddings, right, Bobby? But I think we're shooting, like, one of the reasons we wanted to do education, guys, is because we were like, we wanted to be educators who were showing people, like, the real stuff. Like, not to say, like, Ray Roman's not shooting real stuff, but I think at the end of the day, and Buddy, we have critiqued our own work a little bit, our own work.
Yep, yeah, he's saying that, yeah. Wait, maybe he's not saying that. Hold on, I'm gonna read this whole comment while you talk. Yeah, I think you could look at others in your area. That's what you're going to be dealing with. I also think, you know what I think, Jay, and not to plug our own stuff, like you can watch our films if you want. We're not going to be like Ray Roman level on a lot of them, especially, Jay, you have the different tiered brands. But I think watching this live review, honestly, can be really helpful, because I think that's the goal, is we're all learning. I think Ray actually put it really well last week. He was saying, like, he'll watch these because it keeps his eye sharp, for what to look out for and stuff. So yeah, I think that, like, I don't think there's an answer to that, honestly. I don't have a specific person I'm like, watch this mid-level.
Buddy says, I'd love to see you critique your own films. I saw your BTS on your channel, and the work wasn't very good.
Not all that impressive overs. Well, that's fine. He can think what he wants. I don't know which BTS it was. That probably plays a role, to be honest. And we have critiqued our films, actually. That was something we used to do.
I feel like we've done it a lot.
I think with the BTS. So a couple things. We used to do BTSs, and then we would release the film and talk about our critique.
So, Buddy, Jared, that was shot by
that wasn't shot by us.
That wasn't shot by us. That was shot by Richie, who's one of our contractors.
Associate.
I thought that was pretty transparent, but
yeah. So the premise for that one was it was shooting for Merriment Films, which is your low tier, correct?
Yes.
Brand. And then Jared was there approaching it as a second shooter. So I mean, yeah, Jared was there and was shooting, but he wasn't the lead shooter for that, and that was kind of the premise. But yeah, that's fine. I mean, obviously,
you get what you pay for.
yeah, for sure. And also, I would say that we show our work here occasionally, and I guess we don't always critique it, though. That's fair. Sometimes I'll critique yours, or you'll critique mine, or something.
I'm glad to let you critique any of the films of mine that you want to critique.
Pressure.
I'm happy to just let you rip on our stuff.
I love it. But yeah, all that to say, we've kind of done it here and there in the past. You can look further back too. I think if you look at some of the BTS films, and then shortly after it, like a week after, you could see the edit review.
Here's the deal. People don't watch those videos, so we don't waste our time.
Yeah, we stopped doing them
because no one watches them. So,
they're kind of
if you're interested in that kind of crap, here's what I'll tell you guys: you like something we do, you tell us that you like it. Comment, on the videos, share the videos, take part in the group that we're in. Like, anything that's happening on this channel is happening because we're just looking at how people respond to what we do, and we're just doing more of that.
Yeah.
So we'll do whatever. We're just we're happy.
A couple interesting things. So this is going to cover two different topics. One, Brandon saying only watching rule breakers who break rules well because they know how and when to do that.
He says only watching rule breakers. Not, should only.
Well, I think he's saying that's not.
Yeah, he's saying don't do that.
The best way to do it, and I would agree. That's a great way to put it. Like, the people at that top tier, they can break rules. because they know when they can.
That's why I was saying about the films that I make. This is my philosophy. Here are the rules of wedding films. Here's what you need to do to sell them. Here's what you need to do to make people happy. Like, and it's not actually a low bar. The bar is pretty high nowadays. Like, you need to do a very good job at a lot of different things, but you don't need to be breaking the rules. That's our philosophy. That's how I did 220 gigs last year. That's not what we do with Huxley Film, because that's boring to me. I do understand the need to push the art, that there's a certain price point that needs more of my creativity. But I will say this, go look at Stop, Go Love. If you're interested in like, okay, what's like a basic wedding product? It's nice. It's super well shot. It's steady, you know, in terms of like, and it's in like, this is what I'll say about Buddy's critique. That man who shot that wedding, to me, Richie he had no film experience, and we trained him from the very beginning of his career, and now he's lead shooting his own gigs. That if you came and interned with me, that would be like someone who submitted a film here reviewing like shooting their own wedding. Right? And like that's one of the reasons we wanted to include it, because we're like, let's include something on our BTS where the shooting is more relatable, and it's someone on there who I think is he's kind of a beginner in some ways. Yeah. But it's really, really solid, and I think like that was kind of the thinking, and I think
I think we want to show you guys real, like I don't know, we love being able to show you BTS of like this epic 3-day wedding coming up for you, right? That stuff is really fun too, but we also want to show you the real stuff too, and that's in line with the next BTS we have. Like literally the start of it is me saying I didn't want to do BTS on this because
this was a cluster.
Like I knew going into it was just gonna be chaos. And
that's the real wedding industry. That's the way, like at the end of the day, guys, I love filmmaking. I love shooting. I love art. But at the end of the day, guys, I'm in the wedding industry. In the wedding industry,
there's specifics.
It's grueling. And you don't always get a great wedding.
Benjamin Kelly saying that Jared reviewed a Stop, Go Love shot in the winter a few months ago, and he dogged on it.
Yes, he did.
Was that the snow one?
The snow one.
Yeah. So you could look up that one. That was probably one BTS before the one you looked
at. The
thing
first. About BTS videos, guys, when you're doing a BTS is
BTSs are so stressful.
Well, the thing about a BTS is you don't know how good the film's going to be when you pick to do
you don't
the
know
BTS.
Anything.
So you go like, we're going to do a BTS at this wedding. It doesn't mean the wedding is going to be one of your good ones.
Yeah.
It could be terrible, but you're just
but then you're like, I put all this work in, sunk cost fallacy or whatever. You're like, I got to release it. So.
You do have to release it, but it's like, it's funny. I wish you could just pick like all your best films and then you're like, have someone shoot BTS at all of them. And then you only release the ones that have a sick film at the end. But it's just not how it works.
BTS will stress me out too much when I do like one or two a year. I'm just like, this is too much.
I don't care. Like I'm the type of person, I would do a BTS at everything and I would show people every film I ever made. I don't care what you think about me.
Live stream.
As a filmmaker.
That could be our live stream.
I don't care.
Live stream us shooting a wedding.
I don't care if you guys think I'm a good filmmaker. It doesn't matter to me. Like, you know, I know what I believe about myself and I know what the clients think. I do want you to learn and grow. I think more people can make money as a wedding filmmaker, Bobby, and that's kind of the point.
I agree.
So, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this live stream and had a really wonderful time listening. Thank you so much for everyone who submitted. Thank you so much to the members. You guys are awesome.
Thank you. It
really means a lot to me.
Go check out our latest podcast episode.
Yeah, Fiore Films.
Fiore Films. She crushed it. Lots of great info. I would venture to say this is our best season of the podcast yet.
It's really good. Next week, we actually have an episode called Are You Good?
Ooh. Wait, did I do that one with you?
No. We have an episode.
So we are just like cranking out some awesome content, and then eventually I'll come on and it'll be like, yeah, it's fine. And then we'll like get back to
yours is good. Yours is coming up too. But this one's called Are You Good? And if it's appropriate to this conversation, because we basically ask the question, are you good at wedding filmmaking? And what does that mean?
We go to a wedding expo and we talk to every wedding filmmaker and we say, are you good?
You know what I'm going to do? We just haven't had time, Bobby, but we're going to make films called Real Brides Review Your Wedding Films.
Ooh.
and we're gonna take user submitted films and let brides watch them and give their critique, and then we're gonna also let them watch like some of the best in the industry, and we'll probably say like,
you know what's gonna be funny with that is some people are gonna like, they would be like, oh, this guy who we would say like there's a lot of issues here, they'd be like, oh yeah, that's like a 9, and then they'd be
Look
like,
at
oh
their
Ray, that's like a
grandma.
9.5.
Yeah. Look at their grandma, so cute.
Yeah.
And then they'll watch this one.
It's gonna be really telling of like what people care about. That's one of the things I was just talking with. I think I was just commenting in some other group, and I was like, they were asking about planners, I think, and like, does a planner refer somebody with better work necessarily? And I actually linked the podcast previously to Fiore Films with the high-end planner that you guys interviewed, and it's like, look, yeah, your work has to be above a certain bar, but like they don't. What we see and what they see is very different. And if your work is at this level or higher, you just kind of get lumped in together. And then it's about how are you making their day better? Are you a team player? Do they trust you? That kind of thing.
Yep. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. And I think at the end of the day, guys, you know, when you watch wedding films, it's easy to like compare yourself to other people, but never forget, it's all about the couples and the clients and the people you're serving. So always keep that in your mind, guys.
All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. We will see you next week, Thursday, a week from today at 1 p.m. Eastern. Just as always, on your way out, leave us a like if you would be so inclined. We would appreciate that. Consider becoming a member to get priority in getting your films reviewed. You can start submitting your films right now for next week. And be sure to check out some of our other films on this channel, other videos. We've got a BTS coming out soon. Our podcast on the sister channel, Wedding Film School Show, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, that stuff if you're into the audio-only version. And we will see you next week.
Drop a like, guys. It means a lot. Drop a like if you enjoyed the stream. Thank you, guys. Bye. All right, Bobby.